What is up, mortals? It is Sunset here with a new video for you. Welcome to Season 1, Part 5 of What If Deku Was a Windmaster? I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So we begin. The next morning, Izuku and Bakugo met at UA early. The two had gotten permission from Hiei to use the gym in the morning before class began. The two had wanted to get in more quirk practice. After the combat exercise, they knew they would have to up their game. Their class just had so many powerful quirk users in it. The boys got changed into their gym uniforms and went to enter the gym. However, both boys stopped when they saw someone in the gym already. It was their dark-haired classmate, Todoroki. The boy was zipping around the room at incredible speed. The two could barely keep an eye on him. He seemed to be practicing a style of high-speed combat. The teen then landed in the middle of the room. He stood with his arms next to his body, fists clenched to the point of making his hands bleed. Suddenly, an aura of dark energy surrounded Todoroki. His hands glowed with a golden light. They then burst into flames. He then took aim at a nearby training dummy. He struck with his flaming fist, and the target exploded into a fireball. The poor dummy was reduced to a pile of ashes. The stoic lad took a deep breath and extinguished his fists. He then made his way to an exit.
So, the jerk is a fire user? That is surprising. I thought his power might be super speed. But this makes him even more terrifying in some ways. Yeah, he's just that fast. It's very similar to you, Kaze. You too, Kachan. I mean, you are super tough and durable, and your power does nothing to enhance those. And we won't even mention your reaction time. Don't ever compare me to that emo freak. As you say, let's get started with the morning training. After seeing that performance, we have to improve all we can. Let's go then.
The two boys pushed themselves hard. For 2 hours, they did basic conditioning, performed power drills, and practiced combat. By the end, they were really sweaty. They got a shower and dressed in their school uniforms. They then made their way to the classroom to begin the day. On the way there, they ran into Kendo and Ashido. The pink girl seemed worked up over something. Kendo was listening to the girl carry on, but was more subdued.
Hey, girls!
Oh, hey guys! Did you guys see that line of reporters out front?
No, we didn't, Raccoon Eyes. We got here early.
Izuku ignored the bombastic comment from Bakugo.
So, what happened?
This giant group of reporters was camped outside the barrier. They were all asking questions about All Might. They came rushing at us with cameras and microphones. It was crazy. The whole time Mina was recounting the story, she was jumping around and using wild hand gestures.
That figures. They probably wanted to know how he was doing as a teacher.
They did indeed. Sensei Hiei told the reporters to go find someone else to bother. He and a tired-looking man then guided us inside.
Sounds about right. Well, let's go to class.
Good idea. Wonder what we're going to be doing today.
Let's just hope Hiei-sensei doesn't threaten to expel us.
Good point. The 4 students hurried to the room to avoid being late. They did not want to know what Hiei would do to them if they were, so they decided not to test it. The short man stood at the front of the class. His face was a mask of stoicism. For several minutes, the dark-haired man said nothing. He just stood there, looking over the whole class. Everyone was getting a little weirded out.
Today, you have a task to complete.
He paused to let the students stew for a moment.
You need to pick a class representative.
The whole class exhaled a breath they had been holding. This was a normal school activity. They could relax. The relief was quickly replaced by excitement. All of them knew what being named class rep could do for their futures. It would make you more likely to get internships with successful hero agencies. It would also show that you had the ability to lead groups of heroes. Everyone shouted over each other to be heard. All of them were telling the other to pick them for the role.
Well, it looks like you all have this under control. I have other things to do. Make your selections for the rep and vice rep by the time I return.
Hiei turned and left the room without another word. The students continued to argue until Ida stood up, waving his hands around in a robotic fashion.
I think we should vote on who we want as the class rep.
The boy raised his hand while speaking. This made it clear to the others that he wanted them to pick him.
Is that really a good idea, Ida? Won't everyone just vote for themselves?
Yeah, plus we all just met each other. How do we know who we can trust, Ribbit?
Most people will vote for themselves. However, if someone does receive multiple votes, then they must be worthy of leading us. Exhaust Camps has a point. Plus, it's a better plan than sitting around here yelling at each other. Good point. I say we do it.
The group took a minute to vote. The votes were collected and counted. This revealed that Kendo received 4 votes and Momo received 3 votes. When Hiei returned, he named Kendo as the class representative and Momo as the vice representative.
I was the one who chose the method, so I can't argue with the results.
Ida's face was covered in a look of devastation. He had received 0 votes. Many of his classmates wondered why the formal teen did not vote for himself. Uraraka, who sat behind him, felt bad for the guy. But she knew, like the others, that this was going to happen. She figured she should not say who she voted for. It might make the guy feel worse. The lunch bell rang. Class 1A headed to the cafeteria for lunch. Izuku, Bakugo, Mina, and Kendo sat together.
It's surprising that I got 4 votes. Not really, Ponytail. What with how you handled yourself in combat training the other day. It showed everyone that you know how to take charge and get results. That's why I voted for you. You did? That's surprising.
I figured a guy like you would want the position, Bakugo.
It would have been nice, but I could see that no one would have voted for me. Plus, the job sounds like a bunch of boring side work. Anything that would take my focus off training is not worth my time. And I certainly was not going to vote for this airhead.
Bakugo jabbed his thumb in Izuku's direction.
How rude. I don't agree with his tone, but Bomdi here has a point. I also voted for you. You'll do great.
Yeah, you will. Mina started pumping her fists in the air and making wild faces to show her support. Even though she didn't say it, it was clear she had voted for Kendo too. Suddenly, an alarm started going off. All of the students started to panic and run for the doors. What's going on? Why is everyone panicking? Mina's voice was full of worry and concern.
What else are extras supposed to do?
Bakugo grabbed a fleeing student by the shirt collar as he passed by. The powerful boy threw him against a nearby pillar. What the hell is going on? Tell me now!
Ah! That's a level 3 alert. What does that mean?
All I know is that one of those has not gone off in the 3 years I've been here. So it must be bad. The teen ran off after Bakugo released his grip. The group wondered what they should do. It was then that they noticed that Kendo was not next to them. The group looked around and saw the girl standing by a nearby window. The 3 went to join her.
What's going on, Kendo?
Izuku's voice was filled with intrigue as he spoke. Take a look. Izuku, Bakugo, and Mina all looked out the window. They were surprised at the sight. The reporters from the front gate had gotten onto the campus somehow. Present Mike and a tall, scruffy man were dealing with the situation.
So that's the emergency? What a disappointment!
The problem is that the other students don't know that. You saw how they were panicking. We need to warn them, immediately!
The four ran in the direction the crowd had been going earlier. They came to a set of double doors leading to a hallway. When they pulled open the doors, the hallway was jam-packed with students. They all were pushing and shoving each other to try and get out. Fear and worry filled the air like smoke around a fire. They're crammed in there like sardines. If this keeps up, they're all going to hurt each other. Ashido was right. We need to calm them down, quickly. Kendo looked over at the green teen. Midoriya, fly over their heads and get their attention. Tell them what's going on. I could do that way better than Kaze, Ponytail. To do it, you would have to use your explosion. That could make them panic even more. And don't call me Ponytail. Bakugo was taken aback by the auburn-haired girl's forceful tone. He just nodded in reply. Izuku activated his power and lifted off into the air. He flew over the heads of the pressing crowd. From above, the situation was even worse. It looked like several people were on the verge of being trampled. The wind user inhaled a massive breath. He then released a voice louder than a foghorn. Quiet! That one word made all the students below stop moving and look up. There, they saw Izuku hovering in midair. There is no emergency. A bunch of reporters got onto the campus. Let's show everyone how UA students respond to an emergency. After hearing that, the hallway settled down. The mass of teens all made their way out of the hallway in an orderly fashion. The police arrived on the campus and the reporters were escorted out. Back in the 1A classroom, everyone was fawning over Midoriya. Several of the students commented on how cool he was. Others thought he looked really cool flying over the crowd, like a real hero. You guys, thanks for the praise, but you should really be thanking Kendo. She's the one who saw that the reporters were the problem, and she came up with a plan to help you and the other students. Yeah, she did. She jumped right in, like a real leader. Looks like we got a good class rep. The other students all agreed. They all took turns in praising Kendo for her fine leadership. Meanwhile, a group of UA facility members stood by the UA barrier. The group consisted of Principal Nezu, Hiei, Aizawa, Present Mike, Midnight, and Cementos. The assembled educators all stared at a section of the barrier. The metal plating that made up the barrier had been reduced to a pile of rust. So this is what allowed the reporters to get in. The question is, was this an attack or just an opening shot? We'll prepare for all possibilities, sir. Good. I have a feeling that we'll know the answer sooner than we think. The bear mouse looked over at Hiei. The dark-haired man's face was as impassive as usual. Most people wouldn't have known that in his mind was a storm of concern. Nezu, however, was not like most people. He could tell by the look in the man's eyes that something was troubling him. Something troubling you, Hiei? Surprised you noticed. I am a keen observer of people. The answer to your earlier question is, there is more to come. I see. Your power showed you something, didn't it? Hiei had explained how his power worked to the Mouse Man. It had been part of his employment screening as a UA teacher. The Mouse Man knew that his Jagan allowed him to read, interact, and control the minds of others. The person that did this is full of rage and hatred. I have never sensed an emotion this pure from someone before. It's like his whole being is consumed by a desire for destruction. Troubling. In that case, we should make more preparations for an offensive. We should keep this from the students. We do not want this to interfere with their studies. As you wish, sir. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. If you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials have you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Now, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below.
Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day!